Hello everybody, this is Mark Boardman. I'm just going to talk you through the trades from last Friday, that was the 24th of August. I've had a few days off, not doing a trading room today, but just going to do a quick review of the trades I did in my Friday morning trading room. That was at 10 a.m. on Friday morning, that's UK time. Okay, I'll just show you a quick look at the spreadsheet, the way it looks at the moment. These are all the trades I've placed since the 21st of August. This is when I started recording the videos. I'm making this sort of spreadsheet of all the trades that I've placed. We're going to talk about four. There are three here that you can see in bold. We're just going to talk about those three. These were placed in the room live on the Friday. There was another trade I placed on the Thursday the 23rd, but I left this overnight, so this was still running on Friday and was closed out before the weekend. So we'll just go through each one of these, starting with a short-term trade. It was only on using a 5-minute chart. It was an Australian dollar versus US dollar long. As you can see here at the end, it was closed out with a small 8 pip loss. I'll just show you the chart, and it was here. If you can see the hovering cursor there, we were long here because we'd got a signal to enter. I'll show you the signal stage 1 in a moment. We're on stage 2 of the 3-step process using the FX trend catcher. Okay, FX trend catcher system, 3 stages to it. Stage 1 I'll go through later. Stage 2 is wait for green volume price analysis to kick in here. Green volume. Okay, the only forex volume as far as I'm aware that you can get a hold of. Then you wait for your heat map to turn bright green and your trend dot, and you're in. In this particular case, the trend wasn't sustainable, and we were knocked out of the trade here, which is where your minus 8 pips come in. Okay, what you'll find with this system is that you tend to get knocked out quite quickly when the trade doesn't happen, which is a positive thing. We then had, going back to the spreadsheet, a euro versus British pound trade here. This was another small loss of minus 7 pips. Again, I'll show you stage 1, which is where we get the signal from later. This was a 15-minute chart, as you can see here. Okay, and let's just look at the trade. Just give it a moment for this screen to change because it can take a while. Now this is an interesting one because it was quite a volatile move in the market with respect to the euro and the British pound, and it was not news related because these things can happen in forex, and that's why we use these indicators here to get out at the right moment in time. The signal for this particular trade was here, and the trade was going in our favour for a period of time, and then there was an abrupt move back. Now we always stay, or using my exit strategy, I should add, I always stay in a trade until the market closes above these crosses here. Okay, and that's what happened here. This is where we got our small, can you see, 7 pip loss, the difference between where my arrow is there and there, and that's the exit. Okay, so even when you get these abrupt moves, the losses are kept to a minimum with this particular trend catcher system. Okay, then we had another trade which I placed in the room. This was on the Canadian dollar versus the Swiss franc here. That was a 1 hourly chart. We'll have a quick look at that here. Just bear with me. It'll take a moment. What happened with this particular trade was we got the signal to enter here. We had a nice trend up, but because it was Friday evening, I exited the trade around about here, which was sort of Friday evening time. I don't stay in trades over the weekend. Okay, I could have done and potentially made more profit, but that's not part of my trading plan, so it was out of the trade here. As you can see, this is where the FX trend catcher does work very well. The whole reason I call it the FX trend catcher is that it gets me into new trends early. Okay, a lot of traders would have seen this as a pullback here, potentially going to go south short here again, but the system here is telling me that that is more likely to be a new trend, and that's why what happens with the system is, as you'll see by the results here, more often than not, you're getting into longer trends, and that was a 25 pip profit. Could have been more, but I decided to exit on the Friday evening. Okie dokie. The other trade that was closed out on the Friday was a trade that I actually started on the Thursday, and it's this one here. It's the Australian dollar versus the US dollar again, this time a long and on a longer time frame, which was the hourly chart. So if we just go back to the Australian dollar versus the US dollar and change that to a 1 hour chart, it will take a minute to change, and I'll just shift that over. Okay, and this is the run here. Can you see? This was on the Thursday, and it was going our favour all the way, and I got out here again late on the Friday evening, just here. Now the market closed above the red cross. Okay, could have left that in again over the weekend, but chose not to do that. But still got out with a very healthy profit. And this was the trend catcher kicking in again, giving us a signal to get in here with a red trend dot, which is a sell signal with the red heat map. And as you can see here, the critical, very important forex volume at the bottom. This is telling us that there is net selling going on in the market. Okay, so that was that trade. So if we just have a quick look at how we're doing so far, we're up 160 pips since I started, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 significant wins. I don't count a 3 pip win here as in the stats, because 3 pips and below I don't really count in numbers. Similarly, a minus 2 pips I wouldn't count. And we've got, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 good winners, and we've got 1, 2, 3 losers so far. So averaging around about the sort of 6, 7 out of 10 mark. But what's more important is that on the whole, your winners are bigger than your losers, and that's critical, because it's staying in trends longer that is the difference between making a profit in forex and not. In terms of where these signals came from, you can find out for live by going into the trading room. If you go to my website, which is www.hawkeyemt4.com, HAWKEYE, Mike Tango number 4.com, HawkeyeMT4.com. You should see a form there you can fill in to register for the trading rooms. This is where I'll show you now the signals come in. Stage 1 of the process. Stage 2, by the way, was that entry I showed you. Stage 3 is the exit. So in my case, I just wait for the market to close above or below those crosses that you can see on the chart. So you've seen stages 2 and 3 there. Stage 1 is to get ahead of the market and get in early by finding out where the strong and weak currencies are. And this is an indicator called the Fat Man that tells us when a currency cannot be sold for much longer or cannot be bought for much longer. Strength and weakness. And what you'll notice by any of these indicators that I show you, doesn't matter what time frame we look at, they are always snapping back from being overextended at the top or indeed overextended at the bottom. And when they snap back, this is where I start to look at these currencies here, 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 and I'm just waiting for this snapback, okay? And then I'm looking at the other currencies coming in the other direction, and they're the currencies that I place my trades with. And that's where you can see this track record coming in, because that on its own, by the way, just this indicator on its own isn't enough. You have to have the other key indicator, which is the forex volume, in particular the volume, what's called volume price analysis, which will tell you whether these snapbacks are valid or void. Some of the snapbacks are valid, some of them are void. Okay, so this on its own isn't enough. That's just step 1. When you combine this with your entry indicator, that's when it becomes very powerful. Okay, that's when it becomes the FX trend catcher system. It's in 3 parts. This is part 1. And if you want to see how I interpret these lines coming to the trading room, part 2 is simply go to your charts here, wait for these 3 signals here. Without them, then no matter how convincing that other indicator looks, you don't enter the trade. Okay, and that's when you get in, and that's when you get out here and take your profit. Okay, if you're interested, I'll be running a trading room tomorrow. That's Wednesday the 29th, and again on Thursday the 30th at 2 p.m. UK time, and then I'll be doing another one on Friday morning this week at 9 a.m. UK time. Okay, so hopefully I'll see you in the room. See you then. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.